bit?
Yes, I am.
Over the years. Now, your life too hadn't always been a bed of rose petals.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah, you've had some good times and I think that's the theme for the telecast tonight. Because we are real people living real lives. This is not phony. This is not orchestrated. This is not scripted. It's real. And people who are listening in need to understand that just because they see you on TV doesn't mean that you haven't been through it. And I'm saying that for a purpose tonight because I want there's too much discouragement and dismay in the world. And people need to know that real people go through difficulties, but they go through. And tell us a little bit about you because you have a book that you've also penned called Tales from My Life and Not the Crypt. How did that come about?
I actually started writing poems as therapy for myself. I was going through some things in my first marriage, and I've always been a lover of poetry. When I was in elementary school, I would write poems.
Okay.
I had some poems published in a book for Atlanta public school students.
Okay.
I also wrote a book when I was in elementary school, and I just love poetry. I love writing, and I started writing as therapy for myself. I was going through a very difficult marriage, and I got sometimes down to the point where I wanted to give up. I did want to take my life at one time, and I thought about my children. I have 6 children, and I thought about if something happened to me, then what would happen to them?
Yeah.
And I just had to pull myself out of that slump.
I think you say something that really hit the nail on the head just then. How many people, male and female, are enduring abuse for the sake of continuity for their children? That's got to be rough. Like you said, it's not so much what happens to me, but how does it impact my children if I walk away from this foolishness? But what ended up happening, you end up having to do that, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I filed for a divorce.
Yeah.
Well, actually, my husband, he did a couple of years in prison for the abuse.
Oh,
And
really?
I stayed with him during that time.
Yeah.
I stayed married to him, and I would go visit him. And, he would call me and write letters and tell me, he was a changed man. He knew what it meant to be a husband and a father. He wanted to be with his family. When he got out, things were the same.
Told you what you wanted to get.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so glad you're telling this because I feel somebody feeling what you're saying right now. It's real. The population in the prison system, many of them have repented. Many of them want another opportunity, but there are some who still playing games. But love causes us to believe sometime and hope against hope that they'll change. But that was not the case.
That wasn't the case.
That was not the case, And so you had to do what was safe for you and your family. Now, so let me just say something to a critical ear that I hear right now. Pastor Doe, you are condoning divorce. I didn't say that. But I don't condone abuse. I don't believe that marriage should be beating up on one another and knocking one another's teeth out and abusing and molesting children. If you want to say I'm for divorce, say what you want. But God does not ordain marriage to have that in it and for you to stay there to be a punching bag. And I'm through with my commentary on that. But I applaud you for staying as long as you have and for thinking about it as much as you have. For the sake of the children, but the time came when you had to think about your own safety and move out of that. Now, the poems that you have in Tales from My Life are poems that chronicle the things that you've been through.
Yes, just different things. I have poems about my children in my book, poems about
other women.
Yes, my mother, my grandmother.
Yeah.
Who are, they're very dear, very special to me. My grandmother is like my other mother. So.
Okay, I understand the strength of a strong woman, and we're going to take a break in a second as we get ready to go to the phones and listen to those of you who've called in. But I'm going to ask you to read a poem or two out of your book too when we come back. All right?
Okay.
All right. Now we're going to break and go to the